or to start a business? Because those questions exist. Should I be an impact-driven business owner? Should I be a social innovator? Should I work in tech? Should I go into the NGO space? Should I work with the government? How do we answer that?
So I think it's a matter of nature and nurture and exposure. So for many people who grew up around business people, naturally your mind is going to be thinking business, right? For anyone who's either interned with a nonprofit or whose role models are people who are leaders of the third sector, the person may be thinking third sector. But I think even beyond all of that, beyond all of the influence, the key question is, what is the problem I'm trying to solve, and how best can I solve? So if the problem I'm trying to solve is an education problem, the other question that is as important is, how best do I solve this problem? There are people who have gone ahead of you who have done different attempts. Some have started non-profit schools, some have started for-profit schools, some have gone into advocacy, some have decided they're just going to fund other organizations, because there are many layers to this thing. You may need 1 hour to volunteer a week, and that's enough. An organization exists that works in that area. You spend 1 hour to volunteer with them, and you're happy, you're done, right? And you're able to focus on other areas of work that you're interested in. But the passion could bite you a bit more, and you want to do a bit more. You want to donate to an existing organization, or the passion could be so consuming. Now, what I say to people is, this is a good check. If somebody is already doing what you want to do, the best thing is to partner with them.
Wow.
Not to go your own. Now, you may start yours after you've joined them and you've realized there are gaps. But the best thing to do is, first of all, is someone doing it already? I'll give my personal example. In 2000, I was about to leave school. 2001, I joined Junior Achievement. And my plan was to spend 1 year at Junior Achievement, because I thought, you know what, let me give them 1 year for young people in Nigeria. I ended up spending 6 years there. And I did not leave until I realized that there were gaps in between what I was doing at Junior Achievement and what I really wanted to do. But guess what? Those 6 years were my best formative years, because I left with templates of documents that I could work with. I left with ideas of how not to do things. I left with ideas of how to do things. But if what you do is to jump in immediately and say, okay, I want to start my own, you may have a challenge. You may then start asking questions that you should have answers to. I believe that if someone is already doing it, join them. If you can't join them because they don't have opportunities for you to join them, then if you've explored all options, then of course you can start something and you can build on it. And the reality is, you must build something that is modular. And by that I mean, you must build something that you can layer things on as you learn. I mean, Pride initially started as just one organization that basically, and people probably don't know this part of the information. Before we became a physical organization, we were a mailing list. For 7 years, we were just a mailing list.
What?
Just a mailing list of people who shared information amongst themselves. Myself, Chakinsome, Deolu Ashai, Emmanuel Atosin, we were working in different places. And we basically just used Paradigm Initiative as a platform to share information. At some point, once in a while, we would travel to go and do training. We did what was called the Rural Youth Information and Communication series, where we traveled across Nigeria. We went to Kano, Zara, Baba, we went to Enugu, we went everywhere. But it wasn't until 2007 when I was willing to do this full time, because that's another mistake that we make. You want to do a non-profit on the side, and it's fine. But at some point, in quote, side hustle or as a passion project, it may be time, exactly. It may then be time for you to make it a full-time thing. But don't be stupid like many of us before you. Make sure that you can pay your bills. Because if you can't pay your bills, you will become a victim to mission creep. And by that, I mean the first money that you get will determine your passion and vision for the rest of your life. It means that if somebody says, oh, this education thing you're doing, we would like to support you, but then you go to them and then they give you money or resources for education in a way that you don't want, trust me, you will find a way to explain it, to make it work. You will tell yourself, well, education is application anyway. So you have to find your feet. You have to be sure it's time to launch. And I say to people, you will almost always know that now I have to give my full attention to this. And because you are most likely doing it alone, you have people who are working with you in terms of others who are either volunteering or also willing to do it alone with you. If that happens, then you have an opportunity. But I think the summary of all this is there are many layers to it. You may want to volunteer, you may want to donate, you may want to do things on the part-time, but before you decide on a model, 2 key questions. Number 1, what is the real problem?
What's the real problem?
Because otherwise you're going to end up having a solution looking for problems to solve. What is the key problem? If the key problem is defined, Ashoka also something that you have to go through before you become a fellow. So I went through this process in 2008 before I became an Ashoka fellow, and it was called the onion model. You keep peeling. So you want to solve poverty problems. What brings the poverty? Unemployment. Okay. What brings unemployment? Lack of access to opportunities. What brings lack of access to opportunities? You keep asking and asking until even your brain will say, oh boy, how far?
Now?
When you get to the core of the onion, that is the root problem. Now, that is the root problem. The other question to ask, the twin question, the second question is, which is the best way to address this? Not how do I know to address it? Because we're tempted to solve problems based on the level of knowledge we have at that time.
Yes.
But the question is, how best is this problem solved? It may require that you need to learn more things. It may require that you need to look for other partners who are stronger than you in certain areas. It may require that you don't even do it and give the idea to someone else to solve the problem.
Wow.
Because there's nothing wrong with identifying the problem and somebody else solving it. It is better to do that than to start trying to solve the problem and creating more problems. You will regret it, the people you serve will regret it, and your credibility will be gone. And I've seen that happen. So what is the problem and how best do I solve it? If the best way to solve it is to use a social entrepreneurial approach that is non-profit, fine. If it has to be for profit, fine. Whichever way it has to be, make sure